In March of 2025, one of the largest courthouses in Ohio awoke to a day far from ordinary. The plaza outside was overflowing with local media vans, protesters, and curious citizens. But this wasn't a scene from a high-profile murder case or a massive corporate fraud trial. The crowd was there to witness a moment that would shake the very foundation of the justice system. And at the center of it all were two names: U.S. Senator JD Vance and the controversial Ohio judge, Harold Whitaker. JD Vance was not your average politician. Raised in the Appalachian region amidst poverty and family hardship, he chronicled his story in the best-selling memoir Hillbilly Elegy. A veteran, a Yale-educated lawyer, a tech investor, and eventually a U.S. Senator, Vance had experienced both the grit of rural America and the prestige of Washington, D.C. But what made him truly unique was his unwavering commitment to the people, especially those the system had long forgotten. That day in court, Vance wasn't there as a senator seeking headlines. He was there to defend a group of Ohio farmers who were being forced off their land. Lands they'd worked on for generations were suddenly being transferred to a private energy company through a shady deal. Behind that deal, one of the judge's longtime political donors. The outcome of the case seemed predetermined until J.D. Vance stepped in. As Vance entered the courtroom, the atmosphere shifted. The room was packed, buzzing with quiet tension. Judge Harold Whitaker sat high on the bench, his silver hair and stern gaze projecting years of authority. He had presided over hundreds of cases in his 40-year career. But the man standing before him now was not like the others. Vance began with a calm but firm tone. He laid out a series of documents and testimonies showing how the land transfer had been riddled with inconsistencies, missing records, and shell companies tied to the same energy conglomerate. He even produced emails indicating that the judge had prior knowledge of the deal before it went to court. Judge Whitaker's expression tightened. "This courtroom is no place for political theater," he snapped. Then, with a smirk, he added, "Senator, perhaps you should stick to Washington. You clearly don't understand how real justice works." A wave of unease rippled through the room. But J.D. Vance didn't flinch. He looked directly at Whitaker and replied, "Justice isn't about who holds the gavel. It's about who holds the truth. And today, the truth is standing right here." That moment electrified the courtroom. Whitaker's face flushed. "You think your title makes you untouchable? You're just another outsider trying to turn a courtroom into a campaign rally." Vance calmly opened another folder. "These aren't opinions. These are facts. Bank records, wire transfers, and undisclosed gifts, all linked to your rulings, Judge Whitaker." He then handed copies to the clerk, who nervously passed them to the bailiff. The documents detailed a damning pattern. Whitaker had ruled in favor of developers and corporations that had directly funneled money into his private accounts and campaign committees. Lavish vacations, expensive gifts, and suspicious property purchases were just the beginning. Suddenly, the back doors of the courtroom opened. 4 federal agents in suits entered, walking briskly through the aisle. Murmurs broke out among the crowd. One of the agents approached the bench, reviewed the documents, and then stepped forward with authority. "Judge Harold Whitaker," he said, "you are under arrest for bribery, abuse of power, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy to commit fraud. You are no longer presiding over this courtroom." The silence was deafening. Whitaker's mouth opened, but no words came out. When he finally spoke, it was a desperate protest. "This is insane! I'm a judge! You can't do this to me!" But it was already done. As the agents handcuffed him, cameras flashed and the room erupted into a storm of emotion, shock, satisfaction, and a long-awaited sense of vindication. The same people who had entered the courtroom with no hope now stood in applause. The symbol of a broken system had finally been removed. Over the following days, the nation was captivated. News outlets covered the takedown nonstop. Legal analysts debated the ramifications. But most of all, the public celebrated a rare moment of justice served against one of the untouchables. It was revealed that Whitaker had been involved in a complex web of corruption stretching back over a decade. He had manipulated zoning cases, suppressed whistleblower reports, and even pressured junior judges to alter their rulings. The energy company at the heart of the farmer dispute had received millions in favorable decisions, often at the expense of working-class families. JD Vance held a press conference outside the courthouse that evening. With the farmers standing behind him, he said, "This country belongs to its people, not to a select few who manipulate laws for profit. Justice doesn't care about titles, robes, or political favors. It only cares about the truth. Today, we didn't just protect a few acres of land. We protected the idea that no one is above the law." In the weeks that followed, the farmers regained their land. The energy company's license was suspended, pending investigation. Whitaker was indicted on 17 felony charges and later sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. As he was led away in shackles, his final words echoed in the empty hallway. "They took everything from me." But the truth was, justice had only taken back what he had stolen.